Closing statement, Diane.
This meeting is being held in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided in the manner prescribed by law. This agenda is complete to the extent known, and formal action will be taken. I'll begin with a roll call. Councilman Fisher? Here. Councilman Nadell?
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Mayor Leggio?
Here.
Thank you.
Resolution 25-243. Mrs. Bennett, is there a need to go into executive session this evening?
There is. Mayor, we're in executive session in connection with personnel.
Motion to enter into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session?
Second.
Councilman Fisher?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Fisher?
Here.
Councilman Nadell?
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Mayor Leggio?
Here.
Thank you.
May I have a nomination for deputy mayor?
I'll make a nomination. Delighted to nominate Sue Fisher for deputy mayor.
Second?
Second.
Councilwoman Fisher?
Yes.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll now have oath of office for Deputy Mayor Fisher.
You're going to get sworn in?
Go down there. You can do whatever you want. Bob here. There it is. That's your husband. Oh, I don't have the phone.
Put your left hand on there. Raise your right hand. I, Sue Fisher,
I, Sue Fisher,
do solemnly swear or affirm,
do solemnly swear
or affirm,
or affirm
thank you, that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office
all the duties of the office
of Deputy Mayor
of Deputy Mayor
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will support the Constitution
and that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to open the floor for the nomination to fill our vacant council seat. The process was passed along to the Republican committee members to provide us with 3 names, which they did, to fill former council member Fred Gazer's seat. For those of you who don't know, he did resign. So do I have a motion?
I need a nomination.
Nomination, I'm sorry.
I'd like to nominate Mike Rebel.
I'll second.
Any remarks?
Yeah, I'll make a few remarks. So I was pleasantly surprised with the list of the 3 candidates we got. I think all 3 gentlemen on that list are qualified to fill the seat, and it was extremely difficult to try to narrow down who we think was best to fill in. If this vote goes through for Mr. Rebel, I think we're going to be in good hands moving forward. But the other candidates, all 3 candidates currently serve on boards. I know all of them personally, and I think that all of them have the best interest for Howell. So we couldn't have gone wrong with any of them. And we just only had one seat to pick, so that's it.
I concur with Councilman Adel. Three great gentlemen, three great candidates that are already serving the Township of Howell. I had the honor of serving with Mike and with Chris Mercer on the planning board. And the other candidate, Mr. Kavrakis, is already doing so much for us and the party. So again, just it was a difficult decision because all three candidates were so good. So thank you for that.
Just very quickly, I also concur, but his experience of the planning board and zoning board is an invaluable asset when you move to the council seat. Gives you a very good foundation as a stepping stone to fill this seat, although varied responsibilities, those responsibilities are quite varied. Still, what you gain in those seats is invaluable as you go through the decision-making. And I think that Mike is definitely, he is robust, he's eager, and we're very happy and very honored to have him join us. So thank you for your input thus far, Mike.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I'll begin with a roll call. Councilwoman Fisher?
Yes.
Councilman Nadel?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Congratulations, Mike Rubel, and if you can meet me on the floor.
Looks good, looks good.
Let's do it together. If you could just put your left hand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Mike Rubel,
I, Mike Rubel,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of councilperson
of the office of councilperson
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same and to the governments
to the same and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. First, I'd like to thank the other two nominees, Chris and John, both talented, highly qualified, could just as easily be up here as me speaking to you right now. Just wanted to thank them for their commitment to the town and to continue to serve. I wanted to thank the council, of course, for selecting me to fill the vacant space on the council. It's an honor and a privilege to be given that responsibility. I'm really eager to get in there and get started, hit the ground running. It's very humbling to be given that trust. To the Howell Township residents, you're probably wondering, who am I? I will be hanging back after the meeting if anyone wants to chat with me just to get to know me. I want to get to know just as many of you as I can. I want you to know that I am always open to talk, and I want to hear as much input from the town as I can so that we can better do our work. I think we have an excellent mayor, excellent council that are working towards the same end goal. We're trying to maintain the character of the town that we grew up in, that we moved to, and I want to be a part of that. I want to help the town be a part of the solution. I'm very encouraged as well, just by the turnout at all of the council meetings. There's a lot of township interaction with the residents, and I think it takes a village to do this job. It's not just the five of us up here. It's getting the input from everyone else to understand. the intricacies of what's going on so we can make the best decision to help the town itself. It makes our job easier, and it sets a high bar, so I hope that my actions speak louder than my words, and I earn your trust and your support. Thank you.
Get up. All right.
Does he have an agenda over there?
Yeah, so please rise, pledge allegiance and individual prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a presentation, Overdose Awareness Day, August 31st, and prescription misuse. Krista Riddle, please come forward, Howell Township Alliance Coordinator.
Good evening. I am Krista Riddle, Coordinator of the Howell Alliance for Substance Use Prevention and Mental Health Awareness. I know many of you are familiar with me delivering prevention and wellness messages at council meetings. Tonight, I will take about 5 minutes of your time to observe August 31st is Overdose Awareness Day in Howell and to overview the concerns of prescription misuse. Our annual Purple Flags Memorial will be displayed in front of Town Hall for August as part of Prevention Coalition of Monmouth County's Overdose Awareness Day observation to remember loved ones and community members lost to an overdose. Howell is one of 52 towns proudly participating in the initiative. To also commemorate Overdose Awareness Day, the Alliance is hosting a free Narcan training August 28th at 6 p.m. at Town Hall for those in need. Free Narcan kits will be given to participants. In light of Overdose Awareness Day this month, my other topic on tonight's agenda is prescription misuse, which plays a serious part in the painful journey of addiction and overdoses, a problem that affects us all and more often than not takes root during the teenage years. It is important to remember that not all fatal overdoses stem from street-purchased fentanyl or other opioids, and that most overdoses are unintentional. At the July 29th council meeting, the prescription drug Xanax was mentioned to the public. While I did not attend or watch the meeting, over a handful of community members, professionals, and even youth who heard or knew about the comment expressed concern to me, including during National Night Out last week. In my professional capacity for Howell Township, I have an obligation to share with the same audience some of the evidence-based facts surrounding prescription use and misuse, as this very topic sits at the start of many lifelong struggles with addiction. While addressing this issue is difficult for me tonight, the nature of my work is often uncomfortable and controversial due to substance use and mental health stigma and personal opinions on these subjects. However, my commitment to substance use prevention, the future of our youth, and community wellness outweigh my personal discomfort. I present this information without any judgment for those taking Xanax or other prescriptions by doctor's orders. I also hold nothing but compassion, concern, and support for individuals and families impacted by any type of addiction or substance use disorder. When a community leader, parent, and youth-engaging adult publicly and casually mentions taking one of the top misused prescription medications, it carries influence and lowers youth risk perception of taking brain-impacting substances. This is particularly concerning when paired with a remark about increasing the usual dose taken prior to meetings to get through the night's challenges while serving our community. Prescription misuse involves several different factors, including taking someone else's prescription with or without permission, taking your own prescription in higher doses or more often than a doctor prescribed, mixing a prescription with another substance, or taking pills obtained through someone else, either for free or for money. People often abuse medication to feel differently, gain confidence, alter their perception, escape reality, mitigate stress, or experience a high, mistakenly thinking that medications are safe to misuse because they come from a pharmacy. Prescription misuse also frequently starts within the home, where medications are easily accessible to family and guests. About 16 million Americans ages 12 and over misuse prescription drugs in a year, and around 2 million of these people suffer from addiction. Xanax and other benzodiazepine depressants, opioid painkillers like Oxycontin and Percocet, and stimulants like Adderall are the most commonly misused prescription drugs for youth and adults. They are also the most commonly counterfeited pills on the black market and account for many fatal and non-fatal overdoses. In fact, in their One Pill Can Kill campaign, the DEA warns that 2 out of every 5 counterfeit pills with fentanyl contain a fatal dose. And that is often nearly impossible to differentiate today between black market fake pills versus legitimate pharmacy-obtained prescription pills like Xanax, Oxycontin, and Adderall, because cartels and dealers have perfected their manufacturing and pill presses. Scarily, cartels pose as youth to sell these real-looking pressed pills on popular social media apps, where teens think they are buying pharmacy-issued Xanax or Adderall from a friend of a friend, unaware that their purchase may contain deadly fentanyl. It is a fact that Xanax is a prescription associated with a high risk of abuse and addiction and serious withdrawals, requiring medical care. It has a high risk of dependency, even when taken as prescribed, and these concerns increase the longer it is taken and the stronger the dose. Taking a mind-altering prescription medication is a serious matter between patient and doctor and should be reserved for personal discussion. Xanax's effect on decision-making and judgment is also a cause of concern when it is taken before making critical legal and financial decisions that impact others. It is a fact that Xanax impairs cognitive function. If it didn't affect the central nervous system, people wouldn't take it. As a health-related and risk prevention professional, I have a duty to promote the safety and well-being of our community members, particularly the youngest ones who take in and copy what adults and authority figures say and do. Remember, the brain takes until at least age 25 to fully develop. Whether the information I present is popular and well-liked or not, it is accurate and an inherent part of my work for Howell Township.
May I have a motion for acceptance of minutes from the July 15th, 2025 meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve regular and exec minutes from July 15, 25.
I'll second.
Councilman Nadell.
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Yes.
Councilman Rubel.
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fisher.
Yes.
Mayor Leggio.
Yes.
Thank you.
Acceptance of minutes from the July 29th, 2025 meeting?
Again, I'll make a motion to accept regular and exec minutes from July 25th, 2025.
I'll second.
Councilman Nadell.
Abstain.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Yes.
Councilman Rubel.
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Fisher.
Yes.
Mayor Leggio.
Yes.
Thank you.
On to reports of Township Department officials. Who do we have? Diane first, or Mrs. Bennett? Or
I have nothing for
you
this
have
evening.
nothing? Our new Township Manager? I have nothing. Nothing? Attorney?
Nothing at this time.
Nothing at this time, okay. So now we're on to hearing of the citizens, public comment, consent items. So I'd like to open the floor for the hearing of the citizens and public comments.
Each person shall first give their name and address to the clerk. The council should be addressed as a collective body and not as individual members. Each person shall have one turn to address the council, and comments shall not exceed a total of 5 minutes. Speakers shall be notified when their time has run, and no time extensions shall be permitted.
Mr. Foda?
Greg Vodale, 8 Petal Patch Trail. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just have two things to go over tonight. Number one, regarding proposed ordinance 025-35, which is regarding revisions to the existing Chapter 211 nuisance ordinance being introduced tonight, I would ask the council to comment on a request I have. I see that the decibel levels are clearly defined in Chapter 211, but my request is to allow law enforcement to be trained to operate and read and to carry the same decibel readers that the noise control officer carries. Too often I have witnessed or heard loud music from over 5 houses away on a weekend. I know the Township Code denotes maximum decibel readings next to adjacent properties, but I'm certain if I can hear it from 5 houses away and not be able to carry a conversation outside my house on my deck with another person due to said music, the odds are probably good that the decibel levels are being exceeded. The issue is that the police cannot enforce the current code because they do not carry decibel measuring equipment. Those devices are currently operated only by township personnel. The police say they can only give a warning to turn it down, but once the police leave, the music resumes. The police need this equipment because the township is closed on the weekend, and those personnel are off, leaving us residents to ask the police for input, and they are limited in their capacity to enforce the current ordinance. The second item I have tonight is a question for the council and township attorney. I just want to know what happened to Valerie Vargas's proposed ordinance she submitted to the council on July 15th. Additionally, I was looking forward to see if any of my suggestions were proposed for implementation. I was led to believe this ordinance and said revisions would be introduced tonight. When will this be introduced? Now, if the township attorney and council are hesitant to bring this ordinance forward due to possible unconstitutional facets within said ordinance, I say this. Valerie denoted several New Jersey towns that are using this type of ordinance, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm presuming she gleaned some of her language from those ordinances. I don't know how long those towns have been implementing their ordinances and if any lawsuits have been brought against them. Can the attorney comment on her knowledge of what other towns have been experiencing and or if lawsuits are pending regarding their rental laws? Regardless of what the township attorney has found, this township cannot just sit by and wait for a, quote, perfect ordinance. The council and attorney must act now and introduce and adopt Valerie's ordinance or a very comprehensive adaptation of same. And I say this with no disrespect to Valerie. I don't believe she's an attorney. She's a resident just like the rest of us, but she did a great job compiling an ordinance that best represents the rental modifications we need. If the township attorney or council believes some aspects of our ordinance are unconstitutional, the township attorney is the legal professional whose job it is to represent the citizens of the town, and as such, to modify Valerie's ordinance so that it comes as close as possible to her original proposal but remains constitutional. Again, as I stated before, be proactive and not reactive, and that should happen immediately. The more we wait, the more the standard of living decreases and erodes the town's fabric. Thank you.
Richard Krug?
Okay. Good evening. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So,
Your name and address for the record?
yeah, I'm getting to that. Richard Krug, 4 Sammy Drive, Howell, New Jersey. I'm keeping it kind of light today because I've seen some good progress. I'm very happy about my brand-new paved road that I have in Heritage Point. I think they did an excellent job. The contractor you got doing that is very capable. The house across the street from me that I've been speaking of for the last 2 or 3 meetings, apparently one of your town inspectors stopped and saw me outside and said to me, "Do you know if they're home?" I said, ironically, I don't believe that they are home. They seem to be away somewhere because I haven't seen any activity there. And he asked if there was access from adjacent properties to view the structure in the backyard. And I said, we can ask the neighbor over there, I know him well. And he was very willing to allow him to go in and take photographs of it. Unfortunately, I did not speak with him when he left. So his father did see me yesterday and told me they sent an NOV, or wrote up an NOV for the structure in the backyard. And, but this is something I spoke to the town attorney about. I exchanged phone numbers with her. I'm not sure that everybody who works in the building department understands the police powers that they actually have. And so he didn't gain access to the inside home at all, but he did look at the property and went in the rear and made some observations about the structure that's in question here. I don't see any placards on the building, because normally when I do this job, if there's a violation that's going to send out, there would be a stop work order that would be posted on the building to cease any more work there. And I just don't see that happening. So I'm wondering if, I'm also wondering when the NOV was sent, was a notice to pay penalty included in that. And so from pictures that I've seen of other people that took them from their window, there appears to be at least building component to this job and electrical. So that would be up to a $4,000 fine. So along with the NOV, I believe the proper way to handle these things to discourage other people from following suit the same way would be to send the penalty out immediately. The same home continues to park cars on the wrong side of the street. We almost had a head-on the other day because one of them pulled out, and they're pulling out into oncoming traffic. So, you know, maybe that's the solution. If everybody wants to drive on the wrong side of the road, let them all move to England, okay? An officer stopped the other day because we called about it, and he knocked on the door and he gave him a warning. And I think the warning stuff needs to stop already. You know, they're here, they know what the law is, execute the law. And Councilwoman, I'm sorry, I can't see your name, Evelyn, right?
Yes.
Yes. You brought up a point, I watched you on TV on the rerun, definitions, okay? You brought that point up. It was a very subtle point, but it was probably one of the most important things that I heard anybody say here, because you said people need to know what they're talking about, and they need to define the entities that they're concerned about. And I heard last time we were here all kinds of discussions that are overlapping in terminology between group homes and multiple families living together. And so it becomes a big mess to decipher. So I think everybody needs to make sure that they define what it is that they're questioning. If there's a house that you believe is a single-family home, but there's obviously multiple people living there, well, you know, then the landlord needs to register as a landlord. I believe that that's your rule here, correct? You have an ordinance that requires property owners, if they're going to rent out, to register as a landlord, and then they're subject to inspections. And I know in Long Branch, when
Thank you,
I worked for
Richard.
that town, is
Your
that
time
it?
has
We're
ended.
done? Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Thank you. Okay.
Anyone else like to come forward? Ladies first? Ladies first, proper etiquette. Unless you're identifying as something different nowadays, I don't know.
My name is Renee Calandrillo. I'm at 182 Newberry Road. And honestly, I really wouldn't even be here, but I can't sit in my yard no more. The noise is so loud. fireworks are going off. There's a multiple family behind me, and I can't even sit outside and enjoy my yard. So that's why I'm here. So I hope we could do something about it, because I'd hate to see Howell go down. But if we don't, it's going to. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I identify as Mark Parisi. I also identify as a donut. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just wanted to congratulate Councilman Mike Rebel on your appointment to council. Look forward to seeing you up here doing the work. I've obviously seen you at the zoning board and the planning board. You're very engaged, very intelligent, and I think you're a nice addition to this council, so I'm glad that you were selected.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. And congratulations, Deputy Mayor Sue Fisher. It's a nice title, deserved. A couple things. I know that we have a new interim manager. I was able to meet him at the last meeting, although he wasn't introduced at the meeting, so I was hoping that at some point tonight, Mr. John Gross, if maybe you could introduce yourself to the public, that would be nice. I also have noticed that for the last several meetings, Deputy Manager Matt Howard has not been here. I know that, you know, for as long as I've been coming to these meetings, he's always sat over here with the professionals and offered some updates as to things that are going on in town, as well as, you know, offered his insight as to what's going on. It's my understanding that he holds 3 titles in this town as Director of Community Development, Land Use Officer, and as Deputy Manager. He's obviously very knowledgeable about stuff that's going on in town. I know there's a lot of other stuff going on with, you know, notices of tort and whatnot, but it occurred to me that, you know, for somebody who's an employee of this town that holds 3 very important titles and has a very deep knowledge of stuff that's going on in this town, that they should be here at this council meeting to apprise the council as to things that are going on, especially when we're introducing and adopting land use ordinances, that he's the land use officer. And, you know, if the council or the public have any questions regarding land use matters, it would seem that the land use officer should be here to answer those questions as best he can. So I want to say that, and I look forward to, you know, seeing the progress that we've been making over the last few months continue. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Council. Ira Thornton, Madeline Court, and as many of you know, I'm also the Vice President of the Board of Education and longtime member of the board. I know that Resolution 25-237 is on the docket tonight for the renewal of our shared service agreement between the Township and the Board of Ed for our school resource officers. You know, obviously I expect this to continue to be approved, and as it has been every year for many years now, and I just want to thank you in advance for your consideration of this. You know, I speak to many of you offline, you know, just about the challenges that, you know, we are dealing with as a school system because of the lack of funding from the state, and how that's obviously been filtered down to us as taxpayers because of the state not funding its fair share. But I think shared service agreements like this between the town and the schools is critical in this day and age. Nothing is more important than the safety of our children, and the fact that I think Howell is a leader in this area about how we can work together to ensure that our kids can worry about being kids and learn and go to school every day and not deal with any safety issues because of how seriously we take this as adults behind the scenes is certainly commendable. So I want to thank the council for their long-time partnership in this area. Again, this allows our kids to go to school and be kids and learn and not worry about their safety. And it also obviously is a huge sigh of relief, I think, to our parents, knowing that their kids can go to school and they're as safe as any children in the state of New Jersey. So thank you for that. I just want to come up here and publicly thank the council for that. Mike, congratulations to you on your appointment. Obviously, as Mr. Parisi said, I've seen your work on the planning board, and wish you a lot of luck. And look forward to see you being successful up here. And Sue, I've obviously known you for a long time. Back to school board days when you were coming to meetings, and certainly were very helpful to us. And congratulations on your appointment as deputy mayor. So, have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Jim Barton, 11 Diamond Lane. I was sitting here, I was going to come up and talk, but I just wanted to, I guess, ask a question. I know we do a lot the last few months with the ordinance, and it's up for, it's been approved, and then for public comment, I guess, next month, and then it'll go into effect. But I guess what I heard a lot was how, when we tried to enforce the ordinances on the books, we had a lot of pushback. Right, you get taken to court, the fines are reversed. You can't ask for who lives in a house, 'cause sanctuary state rules. They open a door, you can't inspect. So, yeah, sorry. So, what I was saying was that we heard a lot about how that when we try to enforce the codes, that there's a lot of pushback. The courts reverse fines. Sanctuary state rules mean you can't ask ID to verify who's on a permit. You can't inspect the house if they don't open the door. So I wanted to understand, what is the plan for that, for enforcing the code? And if there's some strategy that can't be discussed, I'm okay with that too, but I didn't have confidence coming away that once we have the ordinance passed, that we'll actually be able to enforce it. I think that's the next step, is starting to have that plan. What I shared after the meeting, off the record, so I'll put it on the record, was that when you have a tax assessment done, if you don't open the door, the assessor assumes you finished off, like that happened to me, closed off my cathedral ceiling, and I got a higher assessment. So until I came in and I proved that I was in compliance, I was penalized. So my question is, well, if you have to inspect the house, why isn't there a rule where if I can't get in, I'm assuming it's not safe, not the code, fire code, it's not safe, and therefore there's a fine within 10 days, 20 days, 30 days that then is enforced, which the court will reverse anyway, but it'll be more of a nuisance for the landlord then to be able to have access to that, so you can actually ensure that it is to code. So I just want to hear about the plan for enforcement, and then my analogy, which I don't know why I couldn't apply to a landlord. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Joe DeBella, 41 Lions Court in Howell. First, congratulations to our new council member, Mr. Rebel. I know you will serve with distinction and integrity, and appreciate your service, and my dear friend Sue Fisher on Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to say thank you to the governing body for taking this illegal rental issue so seriously. I know you have talked about it. I would encourage you, as I think you will, to fight until hell freezes over, and then fight on the ice. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable what has happened in this community. You read in the newspaper in Brick, in Jackson, in Toms River, and otherwise. Private equity, business people that are not scrupulous have come into this town, and they're trying to, on the backs of our residents, turn this into some for-profit housing haven. And it should not be allowed. And if they're here illegally, let's call ICE and get them the hell out. And so I support the five of you, in particular, Councilman Nadell, who has been saying this for months and has been unfairly ridiculed at times for his hard work and his dedication to protect our town. So I encourage the five of you to continue to fight, and it's only unconstitutional if somebody sues you and it goes to court and they say it is. And until it is proven unconstitutional, then I know you have the support of this community to make the tough decisions, to do what's right, to protect our family, to protect our children, to protect our property, our schools, and our homes. And I look forward to this next meeting, where I would imagine there will be a package of ordinances and plans to put into place a way to take back our town. And I know lots of people watch these meetings, and people from other towns watching what you're doing. I'm glad they're watching, because they need to know we will not tolerate this kind of unconscionable behavior in Howell Township, or I hope anywhere in Monmouth or in Ocean County or in New Jersey. It needs to stop, and you have my unqualified support in anything I can do to help to see to it that it does. These are not easy jobs. I get it. You have to hear from people who are not happy. Nobody typically calls to say great job or thank you. That comes with the territory. These next several months for all of you are going to be tough. You're going to get people who are going to threaten this town. They're going to threaten to sue. They're going to threaten to sue you personally. In fact, some of them have already tried to do so. What a bunch of malarkey. Don't back down. Continue to do what's right. Because when you do what's right, the community will be behind you. I can assure you of that. I appreciate the service that you've given this community. And again, we all stand with you in protecting Howell Township. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? I'm seeing no one, so motion to close public comment, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Response to public comments. Who would like to go first? Mrs. Bennett?
Yes, Mayor. Just for everyone's efficacy, there should be an ordinance in the back of ordinance, Diane, is?
025-39 on the front table for your reference.
That will be added. That is a mercantile ordinance specifically addressing the, hold on one second. The mercantile is specifically addressing the rental property owners in terms of reviewing, and when I reviewed what we already have, we didn't have a mercantile license that specifically addressed mercantile licenses for the businesses that operate these rental companies. That is where we have fallen, that was the hole in the ordinances. Right now, we don't have the ability to bring them to the table in terms of court to have a representative of the companies that are governing these rental units. And that was a low-hanging fruit. So right now, we've just put on an ordinance, and today we will be adopting that ordinance, and the planning board has approved that ordinance dealing with the sober living facilities, and we have stopped the clustering. That was an issue that I know that was very serious, and we addressed that immediately. It was approved by the planning board, and we will move forward with that. This ordinance now will govern the licensure of the companies that are dealing with the rental units. It will provide a person to be, will identify a person that we can then bring into court, and if there is an issue and how they are addressing, how they're operating, the judge will then be able to, and there's failure to appear, the judge will now be able to put out a warrant for that person's arrest. That is huge. Today, we're also going to be addressing the nuisance ordinance, and I do not mean to, with any disrespect, I'm trying to get the names down, but I believe it was the first person that spoke. Yes, your name, sir? Greg. You're absolutely right. That was an issue, and when I reviewed the ordinances, I saw that we had only the decibel state ordinance. That is a good ordinance to have. I'm not saying that it's not, but that is more of a business ordinance. That's not going to take care of our parties at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday. You should all be able to have the quiet enjoyment of your homes. And that should be at the discretion of a police officer. I do not need a digital meter to tell me if I can hear a party in my house, that is not a nuisance. That's why this ordinance is on today. Exactly what you were talking about is going to be addressed. We're introducing it, and hopefully we'll be adopting it at the next meeting. In connection with the Vargas proposal, I will not be very popular here because I did go through that proposal, and I am an attorney, clearly, and unfortunately, that proposal has a lot of things that are actually duplicative that we already have in our ordinances. And I need to be very clear about that because I don't think that that's been messaged correctly. Our ordinances, if you take our ordinances in Howell Township, they are being copied by all over the state. Our ordinances are very good. It's an enforcement issue, and it's a issue with, and we have, you will talk, I'm sure the manager will talk about this in a minute, but we need more code enforcement officials. And we need to be looking at these ordinances and what we can do with these ordinances and working together with legal and code enforcement, which we have been going back and forth since this is my third meeting here. We've now gotten 3 ordinances one ordinance is going to be adopted, 2 ordinances are going to be introduced, and we need to look at the ordinances that we already have. In September 21, 2021, we adopted an ordinance that regulated short-term rentals, prohibiting anything less than 90 days. That was a positive. Then we went further in February 24, 2023. We did an ordinance amending, again, our rental chapter, defining the maximum occupancy. That occupancy cannot be more stringent than state guidelines, but we codified that. Then, in October 24, 2023, we did another amending ordinance to our rental chapter, providing for the revocation of rental certificates upon violations, excessive consumption of municipal services, nuisance, premises unsafe, and procedures to appeal revocation. We need to focus on that. We need to document it and move forward with our code enforcement officers. And in July 1st of 2021, that was a major overhaul of our rental chapter. That is what is being copied throughout the state, and I applaud whoever was on the council in July 1st, 2024. It's one of the best ordinances I've seen written. And again, I'm not going to know names, but I believe it was perhaps Jim Barton, is that the right name? Right there. Okay, so what you talked about was basically what I have talked about with code enforcement officers, is that it is a violation in itself. If this ordinance requires inspections. If we have an issue and we go and we knock on that door and they don't open that door, that in itself is a violation. You're absolutely correct, sir, and we should be enforcing it. And we will. Moving on to the Vargas proposal. I can go through, if this community wants me to, the issues that I have with this proposal. Again, I believe a lot of things are duplicative, but we did mention that there were towns that have ordinances that these things were lifted from. I will go through those ordinances. I'll go through those towns. Wall Township. I can see that there were some things were lifted from Wall Township. A definition of family, it just can't be enforced. Just because something's in an ordinance, it really doesn't mean that it will survive a legal challenge. And I'm not here to give you false hope. If you're bound in a single-family home, really that verbiage, single-family home, unfortunately, that's outdated. And again, this is state law. It is just a matter of occupancy. You can have 10 men that are unrelated living in a house as long as that occupancy limit is met by the state, as long as they're under the occupancy. I can't change that. And if I were to codify that and put it in an ordinance, I'm doing nothing but wasting the township's money and the township's time, and again, giving you false hope. Wall may have that on the books. Wall just hasn't been challenged. We are right now under scrutiny, and we're being viewed, and I know anything that I'm putting on is going to be looked at a high level, and I don't want to give you false hope. That is not, a family is not something that we can define and regulate by ordinance. Montclair, the provision cited does not stand for the provisions that was stated in the Vargas proposal. It states not related to the owner. So that's a little bit misconstrued. Keyport bans rooming houses. That's completely illegal. It just hasn't been challenged. It's just completely illegal. I believe another one was Hallidan. The definition of a rooming house is for licensing purposes. Again, I understand Mrs. Vargas is not an attorney, and I really know she put a lot of hard work into this proposal, and I reviewed it, and I put a lot of thought into it. But I'm doubtful that some of these provisions in these ordinances have ever been enforced. They may not have been challenged, but because just because they're in the code, it doesn't make, there's no presumption of validity here. You're not paying me as your township attorney to just make you happy. You're paying me to make things legal, to tighten it up, and to do the best we can under the guidelines of the Fair Housing Act, the state guidelines, and the restraints that the municipality has, and I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. In connection with, again, the sober home living, I heard you. I believe that the new manager will speak to it. We have progress. We have progress. Things are moving forward. Again, everything that you're saying, when you come up here, I'm listening to it. I'm researching it. I'm taking it seriously. I just don't want you to think that we don't have things on the books right now that is, I believe, to Township of Howell, Mayor and Council, you guys have one of the strongest rental provisions and ordinances that I have seen I represent over 80 municipalities in several different capacities in the state of New Jersey. So I would recommend wholeheartedly, obviously, that we introduce these two ordinances, the mercantile and the noise nuisance ordinance today. I also recommend that we adopt the sober living house ordinance preventing clustering and proximity to schools. I will continue to look for anything else that we can tighten up. But in terms of what we have, it's an enforcement issue. And I would beg that we would get more code enforcement officials to carry out what we already have, and I will continue to work with them. But again, the ordinance that I'm sorry, in the back, that you brought up, you're right. If you knock on that door and we can't get in, that should be brought to court immediately. I think that's it for right now.
Can I ask a question?
You certainly can.
Separate from Valerie's proposal, in July, I had noted a request to, I know the inspection of rental properties is annual right now, and I requested the observation that maybe it could be changed to 6 months at a minimum, and if there's violation, 3 months to every property.
So that did come up, sir, yes, we looked at that. And again, that's a manpower issue. I really do believe that you're right, we could look at that, and we can have a biannual inspection, and we will look at that. But quite frankly, what we're getting is a complaint, and then immediately we can inspect. And if we can't get in there, we're going to cite them, and they're going to court.
But if you can codify it, that helps you even more.
And we're looking at that. That is not something that's not off the table, and certainly constitutional, and I have no problem with that. If the council would like to do that, we can. But I do think that right now, what we have in terms of annual inspection, if we do biannually, I do not want to put an ordinance on the books that we can't handle without the manpower. And with having a biannual inspection of all of the rentals, we have to be able to do it, and we have to have the manpower. So the manpower probably comes before I codify that.
But if a landlord sees that ordinance, he's a little more scared things go wrong if the inspections are, increased.
I understand. And again, this is why I put the mercantile ordinance on as well. We can't just be going for the landlord, because we got to be going for the property management companies too. And I see that property management company, if they're having multiple rental units under them, I want to go for the big guy.
Good evening. My name is John.
I think it's on.
Oh, there we go. Good evening. My name is John Gross, and at the last council meeting, the mayor and council appointed me as the interim town manager for the township of Howell. I'm actually pretty excited to be here. I'm originally from Monmouth County, and always have admired Howell and really look forward to working with the citizens as well as the council and the mayor. I'm really committed. I've heard now over 2 meetings, bringing out 50 to 60, 70 people out at a meeting. It's gives me pause to understand that there's serious issues out here that need to be addressed. I can tell you that I've been here a little over a week. We've already started to dig into those issues. And one of the things that we're going to be doing moving forward is I'm going to be working with staff to review these new ordinances, the old ordinances, our procedures, to see if there's anything that we can do to give them the tools to accomplish the goals better. And if there's any new procedures or things that we can do in order to get a hold of these legitimate issues. We're committed to enforcement. And again, we're going to be focusing on that during my time here. But it's not just what we're going to be doing, what we've already done. I've already reached out to DCA in reference to a particular property here in town, and I wanted to get a face-to-face meeting with them so to make sure that they understood our concerns as they begin to deal with it. We've reached out to them, and they are committed to working with us. I do believe that we will end up with our face-to-face meeting with them, but they certainly have given us the encouragement that we need, that they're going to work for the residents of Howell. So looking forward to that. Another issue is we've already started looking at ways and to find the funds and the methodology to hire part-time code enforcement officers so that we can get coverages on nights and weekends, and to expand, to be available to do the enforcement. I hear you loud and clear, and I understand that the legitimate enforcement of our ordinances is the highest priority. And so as I commit to you while I'm here that will be focused on every single day.
Diane?
Nothing. It was all covered.
Evelyn?
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure that everyone understood clearly. I realize that Mr. Howard has not been attending our actual meeting in public, the last few meetings. It's important that public should know that, you're right, he wears several hats, but he does come to the executive session, so council is always apprised. I don't want the public to think that we are lacking in the information that we need, to further deliberate and make decisions and to go forward with the ordinances and other things that protect the township. So his input is still clearly coming our way. My understanding is that by contract, he was never directed to attend meetings. Maybe that's something that we want to readdress to ensure that he can come to every meeting. But it's important that you know that he comes to the exec where we iron out situations, get the information that we need, we have. So just want to be sure everybody understands that I feel that we are going ahead with the most informative data that's available, not only to the professionals, but it comes right down the line to us. As you heard the attorney and the interim manager speak to, so Mr. Howard has been apprising us. So just, I'm hoping that helps alleviate any fears that people think that maybe we're not getting all the correct information. And those lines of communication are open and flowing.
Councilman Adele, I'd just like to say to the community, I have spoken to Matt Howard daily since I have started here. So we are in constant, legal and code is in constant back and forth.
Ian?
We're not in public comment anymore, Mayor. Are you?
That's because you want to cut us off.
No, I don't at all. I just want to make sure,
No,
Mayor, you're
listen.
okay.
Listen, we've done this the last couple meetings, okay? Let's not start it back up. Everyone's questions are being answered. Well, you didn't come up. If you wanted to come up and say something, you should have came up and said something. But we don't want to do this. Listen, we don't want to go back and forth. We wanted to give everyone a chance to come up and speak. And, you didn't come up the first time. Is it something we could address after the meeting?
Sure.
That's all I'm asking. I'm not,
We'll be happy to.
we had our
I'd be
open,
happy to.
we had the
I
open
would.
comment.
Then why is it secret? Because there's cameras and audio.
Ian, anything?
Yeah, just going to make some comments on Resolution 237 that Mr. Thor spoke about. So I'm extremely proud to be part of this, and the council is part of this
Sir,
shared
please.
service agreement to provide the Class 3 armed security police officers in our school buildings. Safety, quality of life, especially for our children, families in town, is one of the utmost priorities of myself and the rest of the council. So this is something that I look to continue doing with the school district as long as I'm sitting up here. This is something that will never be negotiable as far as providing the safety for students in our district.
Mike?
I know I'm still getting up to speed up here. The duplicative items you mentioned in the rooming and boarding houses, are they in a document somewhere that we can review as well, just so we can see what they are across the different townships? You mentioned,
I'm
mentioned that the ordinance that was brought up by the
What was constitutional is already in our ordinances. That is what I'm saying. What we have in our ordinances is a very stringent rental schema, and it's just an enforcement right now issue, except for the 3 ordinances that I've identified. The other issue, as that gentleman said, we could up our inspections, but what we have right now is very strong ordinances. What I saw when reviewing them, we did not have the mercantile ordinances that covered the property management companies. I'm sorry, can you hear me? We didn't have that, so that's what we did. We also did not have a ordinance, I don't know if you were watching the last few meetings, we didn't have an ordinance that covered the clustering of sober living homes.
I have some comments on that one, too.
Yeah,
but-
that that will be in place if you choose to adopt it tonight. And we had,
Spending the money legally. That's a fact. You have not-
sir, you cannot speak at the same time I'm speaking.
Plus, you can't keep you quiet either.
I can, I'm the attorney, and I will keep you quiet if we,
Call yourself an attorney.
Sir, there's no need, listen, the last 3, listen, I'm speaking now, okay? The last 3 meetings, you've come here and we've talked to you. Throughout the meeting and after the meeting.
I don't like the lies.
So just come up and speak when you have the chance to speak then.
I don't like the lies.
There's not, who's lying?
I am extremely, sir,
The house is done.
sir, we can do a lot of things at once, but we can't talk at the same time.
To you or anyone else in this council. In fact, if anything, I appreciate and respect each and every one of you. I just have feelings. My whole community has feelings.
Sir,
and nothing's getting done.
Sir,
it's run
you may
illegally.
sit down and listen to the meeting, or you may talk during public comment, but you cannot talk when public comment is over. It is just procedure. It is not personal.
I apologize to each and every one of you, and I apologize to everyone here.
Because as things come up, people start having questions.
We're having public, I will answer that one question. Yes, if the council wanted to change the agenda and have 2 public comments, they absolutely can. But right now, I'm working with an agenda, and I have to keep it this way, because if absolutely every one of you jumped up and started talking, nothing would get done.
I apologize to you.
I appreciate it.
And everyone else here.
I thank you very much. Okay.
Megan?
All right, here, Mike, any other questions,
I
Mike?
would just suggest for the Board of Ed meetings, we do have 2 public comments for that very reason.
I understand that,
So I
yes.
would recommend for future agendas that the council considers that as an option.
Well, I'll certainly speak with the council, but this agenda right now has 1 public comment, and I just need to stick to the agenda. Every one of your ideas, every one of your, I am listening, I'm writing down, I'm researching. I can't do it if everyone just up and down and spoke.
I appreciate the consideration for that.
Thank you.
Mike, anything else?
Can I jump ahead to the CSLRs, or do we have to go through all of these ordinances piecemeal?
The ordinance, you can, I'm sorry.
The cooperative sober livings, because I had a bunch of comments on it from when I was at the planning board. I emailed them and.
And I addressed them, I believe. I answered them all, but I can answer them again.
Sure, yeah, thank you. So can we,
Hey, right? That's why he's not here, because Howard's the coward, right?
I don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that.
Okay.
so.
Councilman, yes?
So I'll just go through them again, just so everyone here, they might not have been at the planning board meeting, just so it's on the record here as well, so everyone can hear what I have to say. Can we put zoning guide rails on this ordinance? Our ordinance is written, it's as a conditional use for all residential zones. For instance, Rockaway Ordinance 2305, advertised 3/6/2023, allows CSLRs as conditional use only in business districts and residential professional districts. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's several other townships that I had researched where they're only in specific zoning areas. So I wanted to ask if that was something we could address.
Certainly,
Because right now, it just says it could be in any residential.
Certainly,
district.
Councilman. I would not recommend placing any guardrails on the conditional use, although other municipalities may have adopted this type of restriction without apparent challenge. This type of restriction opens up the township to litigation as prohibited by the Fair Housing and Discrimination Act.
Okay, so the DCA, as of 1/6/25, requires paid staff to be at the CSLRs from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Can we stipulate a minimum ratio of paid staff to disabled individuals to ensure they are provided with the necessary care, 5-to-1, 4-to-1, or at a minimum, 1 housing manager per CSLR, or is that the responsibility of the DCA?
That's the responsibility of the DCA.
Okay, and in relation to that one, kind of going back to the zoning guardrails, if there's paid staff now required, isn't, by definition of the ordinances, it has to be a business or residential professional use and can't just be any and all residential zoning for the CSLRs?
Can you repeat the question?
So there's required paid staff to be in the CSLRs now, and if there are required paid staff on the premises of a property, isn't it supposed to be only within a business or residential professional district and not all residential districts by
Right, so-
definition of the zone?
Yeah, I think I've stated previously, any regulations that treat CSLRs differently than other residential dwellings will be subject to the Fair Housing Act. We are very much regulated here by federal law. This policy decision that the township, it's a policy decision, I guess, the township could consider, but we are in dangerous territory treating them differently.
So you're saying some of these things are in other towns, right, but they just haven't run into this?
Correct.
I mean, do you have statistics or anything, like how often has this, been run into?
So,
what?
I don't have statistics.
One of my thoughts on the whole issue is what's working and what isn't working elsewhere. And let's not fall in the same traps, and let's try and tighten up some of the loopholes. And I'm sure, and I understand, I'm sure you're doing this in spades. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, so unfortunately,
That we're all doing.
unfortunately, Councilman, as an attorney, I get this a lot in different towns. This ordinance is here, this ordinance is here. It just hasn't been challenged, or most likely not even being enforced. It's not even being, and that's why it hasn't been challenged. I'm not in the business of putting ordinances up that are unconstitutional, because that's not why I went to law school, that's not why you're paying me. I'm here to make the strictest laws that we possibly can, if challenged, I can defend in court and under good conscience. So I'm recommending this ordinance. I've written the ordinance to where I feel is, and do I feel like yes, I may get challenged, but I feel I'll prevail in court. And that's the whole point, is for me to put forth an ordinance to you that you can utilize, you can enforce, and if someone challenges, I will win in court.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Finally, is there any way to increase the distances between the CSLRs? Right now, we have one of the stipulations in there that you have 300 feet from an intersection on either side of the intersection. So essentially, the back corners of the properties are only 150 feet away. Again, in several other townships, they have as much as 1,000 feet apart from the exterior property lines, and this just serves to, again, put guide rails that there isn't one of these CSLRs on every block in every residential zone in the town. So how does that stack up, speaking, is that unconstitutional? Like, where do those distances come from? Does that come from the Fair Housing Act? Or
It's
is there
really, yeah,
leeway, like an upper bound and lower bound?
Yeah, yeah, you're correct in that it's property line to property line in terms of from schools, and
For
by
schools.
but when I say schools, that's all schools except for homeschools, just so everyone is aware of it. I'm not talking just about your town, your general schools. If it's a Montessori school, if it's any nursery school, if it's, the only thing that wouldn't apply would be homeschools, and it's property line to property line. And in connection with the clustering between the sober livings, it's property line to property line.
Because that's not how it was written. It was written along the frontage of the property.
It's
And
property line to property line. That's how it will be, enforced.
That's how.
But that's
not how it's written, is what I'm saying.
It's how it's written is how it's and how it's enforced. There's other guidelines to enforce these types of ordinances. I could include a more specification if you wanted that, but I'm telling you, enforcement is property line to property line. You go by the tax map.
Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer not to leave leave anything to the imagination.
So-
Because
so
other
Councilman,
ordinances
I-
say specifically property line, exterior property line to exterior property line.
So Councilman, I would implore that we adopt this ordinance, because I need this on the books.
Okay.
If you want to amend it at a
Amend.
later date, we
Okay.
certainly can,
Sounds
but I
good.
need this on the books now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Deputy Mayor?
Just to acknowledge one of the residents that spoke about enforcement, because we do have these ordinances that we worked very hard on. And to repeat what Mr. Gross has already said, we are going to hire. We wanted to do this a year and a half ago. We had asked for code enforcement officers willing to work different shifts because we realized people aren't home during the day because they're working. We're going to work on that, right, Mr. Gross? So it's out there. We're looking for part-time code enforcement officers and also willing to work the weekends. So we can actually start enforcing the ordinances that we do have. And ICE was mentioned. ICE was here in June after what happened on June 5th. 2 people were taken. I had asked the previous township manager if he could please write up a letter. We had asked, and he had agreed. I don't think that ever happened, obviously, but I definitely think it's time to reconsider that as well. Until Jack Chettarelli wins in November, we're still a sanctuary state, and we have to do whatever we can to protect our town. So thank you.
Well, I'm going to just bring up some comments that have been made, obviously, the last 2 or 3 meetings, just so we're clear and we're crystal clear and precise to what Mrs. Bennett has said tonight and our new township manager. We will and need to follow, the laws. We don't want to get the town sued into oblivion, but in maybe some cases here and there, if we are having issues with maybe 1 or 2 houses that will just not comply, and we have to push the envelope maybe a little bit, then, we'll address that. But as far as enforcement, we're going to have to change our tune here, and it's going to be zero tolerance, all right? there's no more warnings, because the warnings are getting us nowhere, and we know that. So being nice doesn't get you anywhere. And unfortunately, the landlords need to hold their tenants accountable. It's common sense that the tenant would think, I can't have 20 people or 25 people living in a 3-bedroom house. But, obviously that common sense is not going, into certain people's homes. The landlord's job, because they own the home, is to enforce the ordinances that we have on the books. It's his job to stop their monthly, bi-monthly, whatever he's got to do, to collect his rent or her rent, and maybe walk through the house and make sure that the tenants aren't causing a problem or breaking the laws that we have on the books. Now, 80% of our landlords, maybe 90%, I don't know, are doing the right thing in the town. Okay, we have a lot of landlords. I know a bunch of landlords, and they're very strict to the occupancy rule, okay, to, the quality of life issues, keeping the homes, well maintained, to their ability, and not being a nuisance to their neighbors. But folks, not everyone's going to follow the rules. We know that, okay? So the select group of landlords that want to keep playing games, okay, and we have to repeatedly go to these homes and deal with what's going on. We are trying to, tighten everything up, give the police a little bit more teeth with the noise ordinances, okay, without the device, and Mr. Frodell, like you said, okay? Whatever needs to get done, we are trying, okay? It's enforcement, enforcement, enforcement. And to the residents out there who I've spoke to in the past couple of weeks since the last meeting, who are just completely disgusted and completely disenfranchised about what's going on, okay? I am disgusted with you. And this council, I believe all of us are, Mr. He's new, we all feel the same way, okay? So the small group that is just nonstop with the issues is the group the township needs to address at a higher level without, breaking any laws or constitutionally affecting the tenants or the landlords. There's so much to this, right? Just like criminals. The criminals have more rights than the victims. And whose fault is that? That's our elected officials at the state level and the federal level. It's ridiculous, okay? But we do have to follow, certain protocols to get, things done. The zero tolerance is the zero tolerance. That's how I feel, and I hope that is going to be enforced. I think we've been doing that already, okay? And as far as passing information on, if you don't want to call the township yourself because you feel that your name is going to get put out there, which I don't think we're allowed to do that anyway, as far as if someone calls and complains about something on their block, if that person that they complain about, are they allowed to call in and say who complained?
Should not be.
That's not,
No, you can anonymously make a complaint, and then we have a duty to investigate.
Okay, so that's, I've encouraged many residents to email me personally at the township email or this entire council with your complaints if you don't want to do it yourself. It happens every day, and I will pass that on to the chain of command, to our township manager, and he will pass that on to the department that it needs to go to. Whether the grass is 3 feet tall, you're parking on the lawn, you think there's 20 people living in a 3-bedroom house, okay? If there's all sorts of stuff, violations, okay? So I encourage you to speak up, all right? And, unfortunately, on a lot of streets, there's houses for sale. And then they sell. Then they're empty. And then there's a 3 or 4 month period that they might be empty, and then the grass is 3 feet tall, 4 feet tall. I went by a couple houses today, and that's the case, because they're vacant, That's a legitimate concern that we need to get on. So whoever owns the home needs to, properly, maintain it. I have spoken to a few more gentlemen from the Orthodox community that live here, and they're concerned about what we're concerned about. They're living here in the neighborhoods like we are, and they want the enforcement, okay? And that's great to hear, okay? But we can't control everyone that's buying the homes, whether they're just a regular couple, it's a group, it's not a group, it's whatever. It is what it is, you know. You have to follow the same rules that everyone has to follow. And I've said that in how many meetings? What's good for you and what's good for us and good for everyone in this room should be good for everyone. But you're going to get, you know, unfortunately, a handful of people or more than a handful, that don't care what we have to say, don't care about our ordinances, and that's unfortunate. So that's what the code department's for. That's what our officials are for. All we can do is tighten everything up. Some of you might not be happy the way we tightened it up, because legally, it's got to be tightened up the right way. And, you know, I'm disappointed too with some of the stuff. And, you know, if we got to keep going to the same house over and over, and we have to keep writing fines, and they got to keep paying the fines, or when they want to go to court and fight it, and we have to challenge them in court, and then hopefully we win. If we don't, that's unfortunate too. But that's that's out of our hands. That's at the next level. So I just encourage everybody just to be patient. Okay, the last 3 meetings it's been heated. And as far as the gentleman and his wife who left, you know, I know he's upset about what went on his block, but there's a procedure to follow to what could be done and not be done for what they were doing on that block. They just can't snap our fingers. We can't just send the police there and kick the door down and grab everybody and rip them out of the house. People have Fourth Amendment rights. Just like I don't want anyone coming to my house and accusing me of something and I'm not doing it, or even if I am doing it. You want to come to my house, you're going to come in with my permission or a warrant. And everyone here, we all have the same rights, okay? No one has different rights than anyone else, okay? But the rule breakers that are constantly taking advantage of what's going on in this town with these rentals, it needs to be addressed. And it's zero tolerance, folks. Zero tolerance, enforcement, enforcement, enforcement. And we've been saying it this is the 4th meeting now in a row. Okay? We're trying. And all we can do is try. And I'm sorry that it's not as speedy of a result that everyone wants or that they need, but we have to do it by the book. If we don't do it by the book, it's going to cause problems for the town. And we don't need any more problems than we already have. And like I said to you guys in multiple meetings, I don't like what's going on. None of us like what's going on. And it's unfortunate that we have to even tolerate it, living in a nice neighborhood, paying thousands of dollars in taxes, and you expect, your neighbors to keep up their homes and not take advantage of the ordinances that are on the books, and, that I even have to make a phone call and say, this house is being reported with 18 people, 19 people in it. Or a house the other day that I got a phone call. A box truck pulled up and they unloaded 20 mattresses into a garage, okay? Every complaint goes to the right department, and it's a process. It's documented, it's given to an official, and then the process starts. Okay, can we just go there and, open the garage? No. Can we go there and knock on the door and ask to come in? If they let us, that'd be great. And if they're violating, we're going to find out. But, I'm going to go back to the landlords, okay, whoever you are. It's your job to make sure your tenants are following the rules. And that's it. You make a massive investment in buying a house for $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, okay? And then you think, as this landlord, I'm going to charge $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in rent. So this house gets filled up with 20, 25 people, because how the hell is the lease person going to pay that kind of rent? Okay? It's impossible without filling it with multiple individuals, whether they're family, not family, and then we're restricted by the fair housing laws and the acts on what we can even do and who could live there. You would think whoever's on the lease should be living there. And that's not the case in some cases. We know that. But getting it checked out and getting it documented and getting it, factual to bring to a fine and go to court with it is a process. And I don't like the process either, folks, but that's, we have to do it the right way. And, I'm just here, we're all here we're trying to work for the town, okay? Our professionals hear you. They're here to talk to you, and they're here to explain things that are out of our, pay range as far as knowing what the laws are and what the laws aren't. And, I sympathize with the people that are having concerns. But this noise ordinance is going to be very, very, very productive now for the police department to go to a residence. Okay, and they don't want to comply, you go there, you warn them, they don't do it, write the ticket. Or you just write the ticket. No warnings, right? I'd rather no warnings, because warnings are just like a slap on the wrist, and that's not productive. Okay, folks, and, like I said, it's hard to sit up here and answer everyone, and then every day when I'm out in the neighborhoods dealing with everyone, believe me, it's become a full-time job, and because I don't currently work, because I am, going through some recovery issues with some surgeries I had, I don't stay in my house all day and hide from the public. I'm out every day in neighborhoods. And it's actually a joke in a couple neighborhoods that I go to certain spots and it's like, oh, you want to hang out with the mayor, just go over here. He's hanging out there from 11 to 1. Or you want to hang out with the mayor, go to Big City Bagel, or go to Farmingdale, Listen, I sat today with residents of the equestrian community. One resident came in today, 4 hours at JB's Diner, folks, on his concerns. 4 hours. If you break down what we make, it's like $3 an hour. Okay, it is what it is, and he wants to have a meeting now moving forward with Mr. Gross, hopefully next week or the week after. He has some concerns, and I said, listen, bring your concerns to the town hall. I'll come to the meeting if you like, and we'll sit down and we talk together, Mr. Gross, and you can answer his questions, right? We're all available. We'll meet you and we'll talk with you. After each meeting, we've been coming down and speaking with you. We're here. We hear you. Okay? We're here to serve the town. That's why we got elected. And that's it for now. I want you guys to know we're trying. Okay? We're going to move on to consent agenda items. Does anyone wish to vote on any consent agenda items separately?
No, sir.
I am seeing no, so resolutions R-25-226 all the way to R-25-242. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve those resolutions aforementioned.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Abstain, I wasn't present for any.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The consent resolutions pass.
On to unfinished business, public hearing, adoptions of ordinances.
Ordinance 0-25-30, an ordinance setting forth and amending and supplementing the salary range schedule for the salaries of certain officers and employees of the Township of Howell. The public hearing on ordinance 25-30 is now open. If anyone wishes to comment on this ordinance, please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Seeing no one, may I have a motion to close public?
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 25-30?
Motion to adopt ordinance 2530.
I'll second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 0-25-31, an ordinance authorizing the leasing of certain capital equipment by the Township of Howell, New Jersey, from the Monmouth County Improvement Authority, and the execution of a lease and agreement relating thereto. The public hearing on ordinance 0-25-31 is now open. If anyone wishes to comment on this ordinance, please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Seeing no one, may I have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt 25-31?
I'll move to adopt ordinance 25-31.
I'll second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 0-25-32, ordinance authorizing the guarantee by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, of payment of principal and interest on the capital equipment lease revenue bonds, Series 2025, Howell Board of Education project of the Monmouth County Improvement Authority. The public hearing on ordinance 25-32 is now open. If anyone wishes to comment on this ordinance, please come up to the podium.
No one? Closed public portion?
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt 25-32?
Motion to adopt ordinance 2532.
Second?
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 0-25-33, an ordinance amending Chapter 188 Land Use of the Howell Township Administrative Code to supplement with regulations regarding cooperative sober living residences. The public hearing on ordinance 25-33 is now open. If anyone wishes to comment on this ordinance, please come to the podium, state your name and address.
No one?
No one wants to comment on this ordinance. Sober living homes. Enter deep. You want to say something? I thought you maybe got some laryngitis or something, you know. Last 3 meetings, we've been having a nice conversation.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you for considering the ordinance. And
Your name and address, please.
it's the chapter
Name and address? Sorry.
in the Deep Core,
Thank you.
Reuben Code. So I want to thank you for passing the recent ordinance addressing land use for cooperative sober living residences, boarding houses and rooming houses, and amending Chapter 188 land use for use of the Howell Township Administrative Code. We recognize that this is a right step in the right direction. So after the town manager's comment, this brings us to one of our biggest concerns, the conflicting information between the state and the township. At the last meeting, township meeting, and as well as today, we were told that shutting down this facility falls under the state's jurisdiction. However, the state has told us directly that in their view, they have no authority to close it, and this responsibility falls under township's jurisdiction. This contradicts and is not just confusing, it leaves our community in a limbo, unsure who is truly accountable for our safety. More troubling, since the state's involvement, the behavior of 4 Reuben Court has escalated. Some residents have been engaged in actions such as taking pictures and videos of neighbors. They have made residents feel intimidated and harassed. This conduct is unwanted, invasive, and created a sense of hostility in our own neighborhood. Even more troubling, there was a hit-and-run incident. A van associated with the property, it struck the car of our neighbor's child with enough force to shake the vehicle and left without notifying the owner. Based on our understanding and review of the video evidence, just like the ma'am said the other day, we have this, the evidence that we have, this appears to meet the definition of hit and run under New Jersey law. So we have done our part. We have documented activity, collected evidence, provided it both to the state and the township, and engaged in good faith at every step. But now it is time for the township to take the next step. The state has told us that, in their view, closure fall under township's jurisdiction. You have the authority to act, and we respectfully ask you to use it. We need to bring this matter to a close for the safety of our family, integrity of our neighborhood, and the trust of this community. We ask that you move quickly and decisively to shut down this facility. Together we can restore the safety and peace of the residents of Reuben Court. Thank you.
Mrs. Bennett?
Mr. Gross could answer this.
Oh, good.
Well, I'll be happy to speak with you with specifics after the meeting, but as I mentioned before, we did reach out to the DCA on some specific matters, this being one of them, and I don't want to preempt what they're going to do because I don't have it in writing yet, but I'll certainly be willing to share with you the information, and I think you will be encouraged.
Anyone else? Seeing none, motion to close public?
Motion to close public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to adopt 25-33?
I'll move to adopt ordinance 25-33.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted.
Introduction of ordinances.
Ordinance 0-25-34, an ordinance amending the Howell Township Administrative Code to create Chapter 330, Public Events for the Regulation of Special Events and Block Parties. Public hearing and adoption is set to be heard September 16th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 25-34.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. Ordinance 0-25-35, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Howell amending and supplementing Chapter 211 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell entitled Nuisance as to create a new Article 3 entitled Noise as Nuisance. Public hearing and adoption is set to be heard September 16th, 2025.
Motion to introduce ordinance 25-35.
Second?
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. Ordinance 0-25-36, ordinance amending Chapter 150, Fire Prevention to include Chapter 150, Article 3, Certificate of Smoke Alarm, Carbon Monoxide Alarm, and Secondary Power Source Compliance, and amending Chapter 139, Fees. Public hearing and adoption is scheduled to be heard September 16, 2025.
I'll make a motion for ordinance 25-36.
I'll second the introduction.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. Ordinance 0-25-37, an ordinance authorizing traffic enforcement upon real property located at 308 and 413 Fairfield Road in accordance with the request of the property owner. Public hearing and adoption is set to be heard September 16th, 2025.
Motion to introduce ordinance 25-37.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. Ordinance 0-25-38, ordinance authorizing traffic enforcement upon real property located at Block 3, Lot 25.01, in accordance with the request of the property owner. Public hearing and adoption is scheduled to be heard September 16th, 2025.
I'll make the motion to introduce ordinance 25-38.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. In addition to tonight's agenda, ordinance 0-25-39, an ordinance of the Township of Howell, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 178, Housing Code, Rental Properties of the Township Code of the Township of Howell as to create Article 1A, Mercantile Licenses. Public hearing and adoption is scheduled to be heard September 16th, 2025.
Motion to introduce ordinance 25-39.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilman Rubel?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced. And that's it for ordinances for this evening.
All All right, folks, next regular scheduled meeting is going to take place on September 16th, 2025. The executive session begins at 6 PM, and the regular session will begin at 7 PM. I am seeing no further business before the council. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.